Dos Sanin, welcome to our membership cafe. I am Tanea Watts, your membership coordinator. Today's conversation, I got a notice. Today's conversation will involve many people from many different nations. We will be speaking with indigenous peoples providing NADA in their communities, and also non-indigenous people who work within tribal communities. I am White Earth Chippewa First Descendant tribal member and also Muckleshoot descendant. I am a displaced native, having grown up on Cabo Indian Reservation, and I'm currently living on Arapaho land, which is now called Laramie, Wyoming. Hosting with me today is Phyllis Spears. Hi, Phyllis. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. Osio Nagad, Kaliheliga, Jijiluk Kohiga. I'm happy to be here today. Aya Phyllis Dagwado, Jalagi, Jalik Janela. So Phyllis Spears and I live in Tahlequah, which is the home of the Cherokee Nation. So this is our land, at least has been since 1838 when we were moved here. I also want to invite those of you here to call out and also to put in the chat box what tribal land that you're on. And if you're a tribal member, let us know what your tribal affiliation is or nation, and then what land you're on. So you want to start this, as I said, this is the Cherokee Nation land for right now. Just call out. Victoria? You are muted.
I'm on the Tutelo and Monacan land.
And most of you are muted if you're calling out. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm in Osage Nation.
Who is this?
Jessica Walker.
Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
Sophia Chavez, Navajo on Arapaho land.
Anyone else want to call out?
Diane Little Eagle, EAC on Dene, Hopi, and Thailand. Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we have an introduction by Carol Leonard, but I don't see her on here yet.
I'm on the call, Phyllis. Good morning,
Oh.
Yatevina.
Good morning.
Yes,
I want to introduce Carol just for a minute. She is an ADS. She's from Navajo Nation, she's Dene. She's worked for Navajo Nation, she's worked for Indian Health Services, and she's worked in her community. So good morning, Carol.
Good morning. Oh,
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and do our opening?
sure. Yate Amosko. Good morning, everyone. Name's Carol Leonard. I'm from Lacachika, Arizona. And my clans are water flowing together, born for the Big Water clan. My grandmothers are Toheglini, and my grandfathers are Black Sheep, and my paternal grandfathers are Red House, Kitachitni Dandla. And I retired from working, so I'm at home. A lot of work at home. And that would be my introduction. And I'll go ahead and open with a prayer. We all have our thoughts and prayers for today, a day we have not seen before, but given to us by the Creator. And all of us are blessed in our special ways and our special needs and wants. Yat e aniltro koni tachik kodiyan na handlondole ko ketlatoni sitaj kon shilhondole na franchement yarishitra inde da jona ishitra konde diginede maslinde konde kedanot ije kon am da dostach ha huije kon e yan hiya se anitlon konde e ya sanasitli Baheni zinigid o hayu aron da dishte ya kon yat el kon de asa ilne beniya ishil khonne ala de ishil dal beniya ya ho shi ilte beniya bani halon aron hot dal only be ya hata shi alser hata ben shil khodeshi dishte da hata aron kon is beniya sit in neske أجيه نسقي أروين دا إياك هو أن سأعجي كون إشي أن لون كون دا إياه كون يتخين دا تلتهم لغو أجايا كون دا إدو آسوج با إهني الزندان دا نأني تليدو كون نأيا كون نيكا ديلوس أروين دا إياد إهن لون كون دا دنا بس نديل نشان لبل أشتري as aan abezado as aan de ka in de da kon hashin so ben tikis nas logical as tro kon de in Holland lini an khaba hat ni jeno trahiyat hot etole in de da kon beje bet hat nas do kon kon yat yanda de zed aan in lahagi jev l'argent sur l'argent كوني جانا مش ليني أدول نيسيات أن خبقت إنت بلادو أصلا إنسانو كوني إنجانو إيا أشيسن دهديل كون ديشي بكاجة كون إيا دان لون أرون دان بلاي كود آي إيا هون جوبا إنسان ديشنا كون ستور زندن لارو ليستيال ترينيج أخجناس لي دولير ها آشد آسنا كون سنيشني ياسني آت خوديين نهز آري كوني هد إياه كون نات أهدنسه نات بهدا الدنات أتو بدا دناس نيدو بدا ناس إيجكم جو بأني تو تدي نكون كون أيوه نيجو خجنا هستي دولار خجنا هستي
Wado. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for that thoughtful opening. I do want to remind people that on Zoom, there's a live transcript in case you want to turn it on. In case you're having problems with your connections or hearing any part of this. So. And Tanea.
Yes, Phyllis.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chimigwich, for our opening. That was beautiful, and I really appreciate you giving us a good opening. And I would like to thank all of our speakers who are on today and everybody who's participating. And I think we're going to start out speaking with Dolores Jimerson. Dolores, are you available?
Good morning, I am.
I thank you for coming today. We have Phyllis came up with some great questions to ask, but first I would like to ask if there's anything you would like to share.
I would like to share that I'm a bit distracted because I am trying to respond to things within the clinic. I'm the health director for the Quileute tribe, and we are responding to a flood. So just know that I'm here, but I might have to jump off. And because of that, I think I'd do better with questions coming at me. But if it would help people to know whose voice they're hearing, I'll share a little bit of background. I have worked on the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, and during that time at Yellow Hawk Tribal Health Center, had gone to Las Vegas. I thought it was amusing. It was an addictions conference held in Las Vegas in these casinos. But one of the great things of being there is NADA was there, and they were in the vendor area offering to put needles in people's ears, as well as they did this wonderful presentation. And there were loads of people in this conference room, and I volunteered and went up and received my first NADA treatment. And if people knew me, I'm somebody who looks okay on the outside, but on the inside, my PTSD tends to, like inside, I'm really tense. and my anxiety. And I melted in that chair experiencing nada in front of all those people. And it was like this magical switch went off, and I wanted to bring it to everybody, and I wanted them to experience it. And that's when my seed was planted. And I just started asking, how can we make this happen? And was able to get trained. Geez, I think that was 2016 already. Geez, 5 years ago. And then we brought it to the Umatilla Indian Reservation, and people were responding to it, having really good response. And at that time, I was working as an integrated care therapist. So I was based out of primary care in a tribal health clinic, and had really good support of the medical providers because they were saying it was helping their patients. And then we were using it in behavioral health. So a lot of times we were using it before a therapy session. Somebody would sit with treatment in place for about 10 minutes, and then we would go into the therapy session. And then I was using it too with people who had cancer, people who were trying to stop smoking, and somebody who experienced weight loss, somebody who had never been able to lose weight, and it was slow and steady. So, we didn't do research on this, but when people can smile and they're sleeping better and they feel better and they're not responding to stress the way they were before, it just works. We made jokes that it's good for what ails you. And so from that, we grew our program. And because I have this background in administration, as well as being a provider and being a consumer, and knowing that you have to sustain things, the state of Oregon has this wonderful relationship with their 9 tribes, and they have tribal liaisons. So we started having the conversation of how can we change the language, because how the language was written in Oregon at the time, only drug and alcohol counselors, MDs, or acupuncturists could provide the services. So it was so simple that I couldn't believe it happened, but they changed the language to add certified acu-detox specialist to the language, could also provide it. And then the other thing we did is, how can we bill for this? And I know a lot of people don't like to have the discussions about money, but it's the reality. We also want to sustain something that's working, and how can we continue to provide it in the clinic and bill for it. So we were able to bill Oregon Health Plan for this and get reimbursed at the rate that was negotiated with the Confederated Tribes. So that's a little bit of background on me and why I love this so much. And I was excited when I came here to the Quileute up here in La Push. Anybody who's ever been to La Push, Washington, into this reservation, it's very tiny. It's 1.84 square miles. There's 400 people live in the village. It's like a little fishing village. But when I got here, they said, we have an acupuncturist who comes in 1 day a week. So my first week being here, I meet him, and Michael tells me that he learned the NADA protocol. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I just forgot her name. Is it Laura, who's in New England and does all this great stuff? He learned from her, and I guess they did it online or something. And so just last week, I had my first treatment from Michael. I've been here for 6.5 months, but again, it was something I really needed, because if anybody's been working during the pandemic, then add to it, you have to be a tribal health director, got tons of stress. And so he just said, how you doing, Dolores? I said, oh my gosh, what I wouldn't do to just get treatment today. He goes, well, I had a cancellation. So again, I felt so good after that, and it's just great. So also, like, tribally speaking, what I like about it is it just works. So many of us go to groups or we go to therapy, get really tired of telling your story over and over. So when you bring yourself and your spirit and you truly become a vessel, and you pop your ego bubble out of the way and you just let let your hand hold that needle and let your energy, your spirit connect and be that vessel and deliver that, you feel that, it's palpable. And that's the healing and just coming together. And even when I was at Yellow Hawk and we would do this in small groups, people who didn't have the needles in their ears said they felt better just by being in the room. And I used to tell my clients I liked when they wanted this because I too felt it just from being present with them. So look, I said I wasn't going to say anything and you can ask questions, but all that ended up coming out. So Phyllis, go ahead and throw some questions at me.
Well, I was going to say, how did you build support? But one of the questions was about how did you change the law so easily in that state? But maybe, I don't know if that's too long of a question or too long of an answer.
People might laugh at this, but people who get it. They're going to know what this means. Prayer, and we put offerings down. And also, I'm Seneca Bear Clan, and even within my own Longhouse people, one of my relatives said, what do you need right now? Sort of like this. It was natural law, give and take. And there was something that was going on between us. And I said, if you could please do some prayers and with your tobacco offering, just so we can make this become reality in Oregon, because healing is needed so much. So I think that's a big part of why it was so easy. And again, in Oregon, they have these wonderful tribal liaisons that work meaningful relationships with the tribes where they really, truly recognize them as sovereigns. And it's a meaningful relationship that's open to negotiation. And I think the part that helped me was having Sarah, Sarah and Bob and David. So going to them and saying, here's what I'm trying to do. Can you help me? And so they gave me some of the research, because a lot of people who are very linear in their approach, they want the research background. So it helped that I was able to go on the SAMHSA website and CSAT, and I forgot which tip it was, and then going to the Indian Health Services website, and at that time, looking up what were recognized as best practices for MSPI, and they have it right there. So when it's in black and white, that, well, look, it's recognized as a best practice, and look, IHS is using this in their funding stream. So it was really easy to get both. Thank you, Bob Storer. Tip 45, for those who want to know, it's tip 45, and that's your tip of the morning. Sound like I'm doing bingo calls now. Tip 45. But you got to be prepared to respond to the linear folks as well as relational. And that's the other thing that's great about this, is you can combine both together. And so we shared that with our tribal liaison, and then also our people who were with Oregon Health Plan, so that's your Medicaid office. And I wish people could have been with me that day in our conference call at the clinic, because, we're having our conference call, and then I'll never forget, Michael says, okay, yep, we'll change that. And I'm like, wait a minute, and then I'm like, Jason, it's like, it's this easy? They're like, yeah, we're going to change that. And the call was only a few minutes long. And, so it also reflects, what do we say about nada? We make it too complicated, where I loved it, where we just asked, yeah, we'll just change this. And so I sat there because I couldn't believe how easy it was, because Bob, David, and Sarah had to listen to me in that year before that, where the clinic was making it so complicated. I would get so frustrated, because I'd try to do something, and then you'd have somebody, well, federal tort covering you. You better make sure that tort's covering this. It was just like a question would pop out of everywhere. But I don't know if it's because I got to meet Michael, and he, kind of let me know sometimes you got to do what you have to do. So I just kept doing things in a good way and doing what was helping the people. And fortunately, that administrative background and that degree comes in handy at times, because then you know what words to use with the audience you're talking to.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought you got it done overnight, but it sounds like it took you a year to get in the things ready. Is
It
that-
did. I started doing it right away. You know, I got some needles when I was at my training in Albuquerque, and I took those needles back with me and I just started doing it. And getting the support of the clinic came a little bit slower than that, but we did just start doing it. And then even doing it with family and friends, you know, become like these, you know, what they would say Christian missionaries do, where you become a missionary of NADA and you start sharing it. And then people start seeing that you look better and they want to know what's going on. And they say, the only thing different is, you know, just getting NADA in my ears. And so then they want to try it. And it's like, oh, I feel better too.
Very good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And Phyllis, we can't ignore you, because if you remember when I was trying to do all this, Sarah connected me with you, you know, and you're always so humble, and you were the pioneer in getting this all started. So, you know, I'm really honored that you've asked me to share with you this morning.
Wado.
Phyllis, I wanted to just let you know, Tanea's Zoom froze on her computer, so she's going to come sit here. So we were just having a little switch in case you're wondering what's happening. That's what's going on. Okay.
I see that Sarah has a question about Canada, and I will share that my tribe borders both Canada and New York State. And things are just so different up there. You know, I still can't get my brain wrapped around it, and I'm starting to become old. But I know what my cousins tell me over at Six Nations is just come up and do it. You know, so I don't know if up there, if it would need to go through the same protocols that we do, but I just know that my family's like, yeah, just come up and teach us and we can just do this. So I don't know. I can't answer Sarah's question. Maybe some other people can.
So Tanea, don't we have someone here from Canada today?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, look in the chat.
I'll go look in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm on someone else's computer, so I'm a little disoriented.
It's like using someone else's phone, right?
Yeah, Kate Ryan, who works with Kettle and Stony Point, was going to be on today, but there she is. Kate, are you here? Are you available to speak?
I'm here.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm here. And Angela George is also on. Angela is a band member of Kettle and Stony Point First Nations as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I should let you know that they are awaiting training. They
We
have been
are.
wanting to be trained for a while. So I asked Phyllis and if her and I can go up there. I'm not a trainer, but I'd like to assist. So
Well, we would just be so thrilled to have that happen. I'm actually trained. I did the medical acupuncture program in the United States many years ago. I did the 4-year program in Florida, and I wrote qualifying exams for Florida and for the nation. And I returned to work in Ontario in 2009. In Ontario, acupuncture is not part of the regulated medical disciplines, but auricular acupuncture, we're able to bring it through something called Bill C-50, so kind of under the jurisdiction of mental health medical facilities, and we're able to practice it that way. And Kettle and Stony Point Health Services, under our mental health and addictions department, we're hoping to train staff and be able to offer it as a tool to support people.
Okay.
thank you, Kate.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, it is 10:24. We're almost at the half an hour, and I would like to talk to Bob if he is available. folks.
There we go. Yeah,
Bob?
I'm available.
Thank you. Can you introduce yourself for us and let us
Yeah.
know where you are?
I'm Bob Stewart.
Morning in progress.
Hello. A substance abuse counselor residential program at the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe. I'm a registered RT. Matter of fact, I guess I'm the registered RT rep. Been working here on the res 13 years now, and we've had some semblance of an auricular acupuncture program since 2010. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Bob. Would you tell us how, did you bring Nada to SAG Chip, or how did that happen?
No, SAG Chip sent me for training, and we're very, very supportive. And I believe, and I haven't found any evidence of it yet, but I believe that way back in the day in the state of Michigan, like 90, 91, auricular acupuncture was being offered through the state. And I think that the tribe dabbled in it for a brief period. But yeah, we, through a very supportive administrator, we were able to implement and continue, despite a fair amount of resistance, both passive and otherwise, keep the program going. You know, so, and in Michigan, it's very, very easy to deliver the NADA protocol. I think in Delaware, Phil Milleroff and I presented on community outreach and how they would set up clinics right on the street corners in inner city Detroit. You know, so yeah, the big thing that I have observed over the years, and especially in Indian country, is you need to be persistent and dedicated. Our program numbers have fluctuated, and what I have seen in other programs that started out well but ended was pretty much individually driven. Somebody was very, very passionate about doing it. They moved on and the program would shut down. And, you know, so there has to be some sustainability and buy-in from the community. We've been able to do that. David Garcia is on board, and interestingly enough, Dave was one of the administrators who allowed us to expand to a sister reserve over just above the thumb in here in Michigan. And even though we didn't have wonderful numbers, whatever the hell that means, David was very supportive of sending it, at the very least, myself and a team over there, and did that on a very, very consistent basis. COVID, we're hoping to reopen that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, just really being persistent. And you know, I'm pretty fortunate because staff gets trained, their interest lags, but there are two other people that I work with who have become very, very passionate about NADA, and that makes me feel good that there will be a continuation should anything happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's been some of my experience, you know, and just ride through the ups and downs with whichever tribal government you happen to be dealing with, and administration. So being persistent. I've had the opportunity of, and Dave was very interested in starting the program in American Indian Health and Family Services, which is still considered to be inner city Detroit. So if Dave is available, how about some quick words on how it looks in a urban setting? Come on, Dave, I know you're not shy. Down there, they have actually opened up a long, they've got a clinic that's opened up to community members. And they very actively use that as part of their outreach, which is really incredible. We were able to do that with David here too, health fairs and interacting with the community. We do allow, in the spirit of Michael Smith, no barriers. Anybody who wants auricular acupuncture, show up, sign a release that you know what you're getting into, and no questions asked. It's typically a 2-hour clinic, and they're welcome to stay as long as they want. So
Nice.
but yeah, I think that's important too. No barriers, no barriers.
Yeah. I would like to ask, oh, there's David. Hi.
How you doing?
Real good,
Thanks.
Dave. Good seeing you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks. Putting me on the spot. Yeah, it's like,
hey, it's a big bus. You're under it.
So I was chatting with someone else, so I missed part of the conversation. I apologize. But so, what would you like to know?
How's it going in an urban area? And you were up here at Sag Chip,
yeah.
So some perspective on rural versus urban.
I think, right now we are kind of, it's hit or miss. Part of the issue we had is we had to deal with the flood that we had. So we've been flooded twice in our clinic. And so where we were at doing our acupuncture, we kind of said, we kind of put it on hold a little bit. We do individual ones right now. We haven't really done the group ones. We set it up with the same model that we had at Sag Chip. I think it's a little easier at Sag Chip with regards to transitioning people. At Sag Chip, there was the outpatient, there was the intensive outpatient, and there was also the residential treatment. Community was closer, so there was a lot of people transitioning from the community into that. Here in Detroit, we're a little more dispersed. So, but in the, what's the words I want? The generosity of just healing everyone and providing this to everyone, we have expanded that. We did our initial training, and out of that, we still have 3 clinicians out of the 7 that provided. So we do that for our outpatient. And if someone calls up, we do that, and we have a room set aside, kind of like what was set up at Sag Chip, just very calm, nice music, nice lights. We also have a diffuser in there. We do a lot of smudging here, and so people come in and we will smudge them off, and we'll put the needles in them, needle them up, and they can stay there for up to an hour if that's what they want. So we set aside that time for them. We monitor them periodically. It's been going okay. Did Bob mention we had an additional training where we brought in another a few other people. Out of that, I think we initially had 12. We lost 2 right away, so that was down to 10. And then we ended up having, I think 8 graduated. Out of the 8, I know that 4 are actively using it. I think one of the positives is we had someone from MDHHS, and she took it to her clinic, to her facilities, to the office. And she wasn't necessarily doing it with clients that they service. She was actually doing it with the staff, which to me is kind of amazing to be able to identify if you know the caseloads that they have. You have case managers that have, 120, 130 cases on, that's their caseload. They're supposed to monitor that. Yeah, I'd cough too if I had that high of a caseload, Bob. So she was actually doing it on staff and supervisors. So that was pretty nice. But regarding us, we're looking at expanding. I was just looking at a place down towards the bridge that has some good traffic, and be able to open that up. We get a little resistance from the indigenous people until they try it. And I think we've all had that experience of once you try it, they're amazed, how it makes them feel. Especially we have people that have fear, their fear of needles, and they're afraid that, oh my God, it's going to go through and just going to puncture me in the neck or something. And you talk them through it, you calm them down, and we get them coming back. And so here at American Indian, we are trying to incorporate it with our outpatient, and be a supplement. We do have the medical clinic that makes referrals down to here. One of our staff, Michael Carroll, he's a social worker embedded into our health clinic, the medical clinic, and he offers acupuncture up there also. So that's kind of a nice thing. That's what I got.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. You made a good point in using some of the other medicines that are absolutely key, the smudging and cedar oils and some of the salves. Thank you for mentioning that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I just want to add, we use it as just one of the tools in order to get someone to that point of healing and working on themselves. So the acupuncture we use to reduce that depression, anxiety, as we all know, that's really beneficial for that, the cravings. And so it's just one of those multiple tools, because we all know that not every tool works with everyone, but if we have a lot of tools, we can help everyone. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right, Phyllis, I think we're going to transition at this time. Phyllis, did you have anybody on your list?
Yeah, I actually had a couple of people I wanted to see if they would make a couple of remarks about the communities they work in. First is Diane Little Eagle. She wanted to speak a little bit, and then John Poland, who is with the Osage Nation. He's a new ADS, so I wanted him to talk about kind of how they're getting started there. So Diane, could you speak?
Oh, Aka. Good morning, everyone. I'm EAC from Prince William Sound in Alaska, and we work up outside of Fairbanks in the home of the Danakanagans. My aunt, who's a traditional healer, and a number of other traditional healers, formed a clinic, a group of us outside of Fairbanks, to hopefully meet the needs of the people. We've worked at a lot of big events in our region. We were last at the World Eskimo Indian Olympics this last summer, which was allowed to happen, which was wonderful. We saw thousands of people, and they wanted us to come back. We've also worked at the Festival of Native Arts, the Midnight Sun Powwow. We work at a number of different health fairs. We've gone to lunch and learns. We've gone to many villages, and it's just been wonderful to incorporate the traditional healing and the NADA protocols. It works really good to use NADA there because we've seen so many people. The community has absolutely loved us. I can hardly wait till we have complete freedom to go wherever we're asked to go. So I thank Phyllis for bringing me into this circle and for all the trainings that we've had through the years, all the beautiful people that we've met through this program. And it's just wonderful to be with all of you. Ahoata.
Okay, John, do you want to speak a little bit? Introduce yourself. Your speaker's off.
Okay. Yeah, I'm John. I'm Cherokee, and I work for Osage Nation, so I live in Osage Nation. We just started maybe 2 months ago when we got our first training, and it's been word of mouth. We don't have like a formal program, but I probably needle maybe 8 people a week. You know, they know that I do it, and you know, we're hoping to set aside a time where we can invite people to come do it like once a week or something like that. But I really undersell the benefits of it, you know, because I just tell people it'll relax you and everything. But everyone that's done it has come back, and I have one little guy that probably comes 4 or 5 times a week, you know, and he incorporates it with his rosary. You know, and he has struggles that I won't talk about, but you know, like I know his need is genuine, and it really helps him. People see him doing it, they want to come in and do it. I have a person that's scheduled to come do it right after this, and everyone talks about how it's shocking to them, how connected they feel, how peaceful they feel, and that they get such a genuine benefit from it.
And what program do you work in?
I do the Osage County Drug Court, and outpatient, mostly substance abuse.
I'm sure Chuck would love to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay.
If you don't mind, I might forward you some emails from him, John.
Okay, yeah, I'm welcome.
Okay, thank you.
I'm open to it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yeah. I just would like to take one moment, if I can, really quick. Victoria Taylor had asked a question. She said, can you speak about the transcultural conversation, bring a technique originating in Asia to indigenous people of this continent? And Dolores Jimerson gave a reply, and she said, we talk about traditional medicines, plant medicines, when addressing transcultural services. One of the Lakota elders, who has since gone back to the stars, shared with us that the porcupine needles were used in a similar way as the needles are now, sharing the history of how NADA came to be at Lincoln also helps. We talk about how the Black Panthers and Young Lords wanted something other than pharmaceuticals. Phyllis.
And I also think that for me, when I started doing NADA and was taking it out to on the O'odham community, one thing we talked about is this chi or jing or this energy. And for Native people, we very much believe that energy is something that's in us, that can be moved, that can be used for healing, that can be shared. So it didn't seem to be like this foreign concept. It was just a different way that it was packaged and we were using it. So I found people very open to it. very, very open to it.
Thank you.
One of our other folks that we wanted to speak a little bit was Sue Tam. Is she still on? From Pasquayaki?
Good morning. Hi.
There she is.
Sorry. How are you? Thank you for the invitation. I just had a question about COVID and how people have responded during the COVID towards acu detox. And perhaps someone can talk a little bit about that piece, but I would like to just identify myself. My name is Sue Tham. I am part of the Pasquayaki Health Department. We've moved into a huge building and we have a dedicated acu-detox clinic room at this time. So with nice chairs and really clean environment that is safe. Our med director actually wants to do the training. I haven't scheduled any training at this time, but we are, thanks to the NADA website, I check on it often. And if there is any article related to depression or any health conditions, I'm always sending that to folks, and people are interested in integrating acu-detox into the health system. I heard a few of you talk about how you have been integrating acu-detox into your medical clinics. I'm really excited that behavioral health now will be embedded into specialty clinics and medical clinics. We do have alternative medicine and comprehensive care model over here. So we're hoping to do more of that. Anyways, during the recent holidays, I was able to do a community clinic. People talked about the urban clinic, and was invited by a peer support agency, and we provided about 40 ear treatments on Halloween, for a Halloween celebration, for a spooktacular celebration. And what's interesting is that I've tried to encourage this agency to get trained, but because I offer the free clinic to everybody, they are less invested in training someone because of the commitment. Anyways, so what else would you like me to tell you, Phyllis?
That's a lot. That's a lot. One of my questions was, do you have community clinics, and how can people in the community access, and are they just on the reservation, or do you go out to New Pascua or Old Pascua?
Yeah, so we have a satellite clinic at St. Mary's, connected to the St. Mary's Hospital, but not quite. It is a separate clinic. And very recently, I have asked one of the trainees to get certified with the State of Acupuncture Board so that they can provide the full service over there. At our Guadalupe clinic, we have prevention services. So I think what they're intending to do is get together tribes who provide services to be a part of the training, and that would probably roll out in 2022. So it's through the Intertribal Council of Arizona, and I'm really excited that we're going to be able to expand the training to other tribes. So that's something in the future, and we're hoping that we will get folks from Northern Arizona also to get trained.
Okay.
So back to my question about COVID, do we know about the response of the community due to the COVID and whether they have been successful in implementing AccuDetox?
I know here in Tahlequah, we closed our clinic for almost a year, but we've opened it back up about 6 months ago. And we do it actually in the Unitarian sanctuary. So it's a big space. We separate people out at least 6 feet apart. We have them wear masks. And I got some pushback from some of the clients about wearing masks, but I just stood firm and just said, you have to wear a mask. and so they did that, and they've been coming. So our numbers are so slowly building back up, but they're not like they were before COVID, because we were getting, it's a little 2-hour clinic, and we were getting about 30 people a week usually, and now we get about 10. So it's just very, very slowly coming back up. And I don't know about other places.
I think Eleni had posted a response to COVID response in the chat. Did you want to talk a little bit about it, Eleni? Yeah, unmute.
Sorry, I had to figure out how to unmute. Yeah, we have been practicing AccuDetox continuously in the behavioral health setting, one-on-one for people who are vaccinated, both therapists and patients. And it worked really well, and it was very much needed. We also put together some kits to pass out to people so that they could bring the seeds home to their families and loved ones. And I see that Dolores did the same thing. The tribe has been on lockdown it's still on lockdown. And we have been able to do small groups the past 6 months also, 4 in a large room with the UV fans and masks and vaccinations and all that. It's really needed. People are stressed out. And so we were happy to offer that treatment to them. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're with the Jemez Pueblo?
Yes, ma'am. Jemez Pueblo Behavioral Health Clinic. So it's done through our behavioral clinic, but we also bring it to the local high schools.
Awesome, thanks.
And that's in New Mexico?
Yes, that's in New Mexico.
Susan La Chica.
Hi, my name is Susan La Chica. I am a psychologist and a licensed substance abuse counselor at the San Carlos Apache Tribe in San Carlos, Arizona. And I want to speak on a couple of things that people brought up. Sue is in Pascuayaki in Tucson, I take it, right? So I wanted to inform you that we've been providing AccuDetox here in San Carlos since March of 2020, thanks to Dr. Leolani Aquin, who is our clinical director. She introduced it in March, and it was during one of my substance abuse treatment groups, evening ones, and she did it for about a month. I saw incredible results. People were sleeping. People were just amazed at how different they felt. So I kept bugging her to have me train, but she said that because of COVID, we weren't going to be able to provide any training. So I nagged and nagged until she was able to arrange to have remote training while she facilitated here on site. And so another psychologist and I received the training, and even while the tribe locked down, Dr. LJ Murphy and I, we very bravely provided AccuDetox to any community member, whether it was hospital employees, our clients, any kind of situation we addressed. So we wore masks, and our our walk-ins wore masks. We provided music, the tea. I mean, we really provide a very nurturing environment. And I alone could, was able to do in the 3 days that we provided AccuDetox, open AccuDetox clinic in the afternoons for 2.5 hours. Average was about, for me alone, was about 17, somewhere in the teens. We were tired, but persistent. There was hardly anybody in the building because people were afraid to come into work. The tribe said you could take administrative leave for as long as you need to. But Dr. Murphy and I, we kept plugging along. And the only reason why we stopped the clinic, because one of my clients tested positive, even though I tested negative. And I was just told, go home, Susan, and work from home. But AccuDetox stopped, and it only resumed in March. And so we are only doing 1 day a week. However, I've seen so many miraculous results that I can't name them all, but I think that the biggest miracle was a young lady, a very persistent young lady in her early 30s who had stage 3 kidney disease, kidney failure. And she came all those 3 days, every single week, even when we were doing once a week. And her nephrologist gave her the amazing news. He said, I don't know what you did, but your blood work is normal. So that's not going to happen to everybody, but that is one of the stories that makes me tear up. So anyway, so as I get all choked up, I've seen some other interesting results. So I keep doing it. I don't care. I do it alone because Dr. Murphy is a child psychologist and she's moved into the San Carlos Hospital to work with, what do you call, I forgot the pediatrician. She's a specialist. So she deals a lot with children with, oh my God, I forgot the word. Not FAS, autism. A lot of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children. So she's on a different path now. Dr. Aquin has been certified as an ADS for many years now. She's so busy, she can only do it in case of an emergency. We do the crisis walk-ins. I mean, they trust me to stick sharp things in their ears to calm them down. So they trust me. And so word is spreading throughout the community. You got to go to that little Puerto Rican with the curly hair psychologist. I'm originally from the Bronx, pretty close to Lincoln Hospital. So I was so excited to read that history. And so, anyway, I don't know what else you would like to know, but it's been working. And so I just wish we could train more people, but people are afraid of COVID here. And so there's a lot of paranoia, but the desperate ones come in, they hear about me, and they leave, they float out of the wellness center. They literally float out. So, and they keep coming back despite the fear of needles. And I tell them I'm very gentle and they trust me. And that's such a compliment. So anyway, just wanna, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can contact me. 928-475-1514. That's my direct line. If you ever want to contact me and have any questions, please do.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
That was a great story. I was really happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
I would like to give a shout out to Natividad Caño. I see her here. Would you unmute yourself and say hi? And
hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Normally, I have to miss it because it's when I do relapse prevention around this time. But I was able to be here today, even if I sign on a little late, but I'm glad to be here. I'm at the Haven, and the Haven is a residential, gender specific for women, residential program. And within the program, we have the Native Ways program. And I am part of the Native Ways. I train with Phyllis. She's my trainer. Hello, Phyllis. Good morning.
Good morning. So nice to see you. Your program has been so key in my training people because you let us come there and practice.
Yes. Yes. We're still doing, no, we haven't done AQ Detox in about 3 weeks because we, for all of 2020 and most of 2021, we were not heavily impacted by COVID. We reduced the number of people that we were doing AQ Detox with from 15 to about 7 or 8 at a time. Yet during the past month, I think it was the end of October, we had we had to go into isolation and quarantine because about 50% of our ladies tested positive. So in the last 3 weeks, we've been in quarantine mode. And today was the first day that I was able to have a group with my caseload outside. We did the relapse prevention class outdoors in the playground. So I'm very happy today because I got to see some of the ladies. And hopefully real soon, as long as everybody is negative, when we do our next round of testing, we'll resume our AQ Detox. And I'm looking forward to that. I've been using the tea a lot to give the women, to help them sleep and to help them relax. It's been very hard for the women to be in isolation and in quarantine. And, the tea has been very, very helpful for them to have a sense of, I'm relaxed, I'm safe, I'm going to sleep good. And so we keep doing what we know works. I'm drinking tea right now because I'm going to have a minor procedure tomorrow in one of my veins. And he said, do not drink caffeinated drinks. And I thought, tea, that's what I'm going to drink all day long. So I love the tea. I'm also thinking, and I had talked to you, Phyllis, a while back about becoming a trainer for Spanish-speaking people who are interested in the acupuncture. So I still want to pursue that, and I'm going to start the paperwork, I guess. I think what I need is a letter of recommendation from you, possibly, if you would please.
I would. And there's another trainer in Tucson now, Nobi Pyle, and she's going to do a training pretty quick. So,
yes, I've been in contact with Nobi. Yes, and I think she might do some of her practices here. The ladies, they come to the trainees. I'm looking into that, to doing in our outpatient program right now because they're not under quarantine, and we still are until maybe a couple more weeks. So she may do some of her practicums over there.
So Tanea, I think you have a question.
I do. We're at 11, and normally we do a hard stop at 11, but we've gone beyond that. With your permission, I would like to keep going, if that's okay. We have a couple more things I would like to talk about, and probably some more people to hear from. Is everybody okay with us continuing the cafe?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, I am.
Okay, good deal. All right, so I wanted to, Phyllis, did you have, was there anybody else that you connected with that wanted to speak today?
No.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about a question that we get a lot of time at times, and that is working with tribal nations and Alaskan Indians and First Nations. And people always want to know, how can they approach a tribe? How can they work with, I live on a border town or something like that. And what are those regulations? And I think we have enough people here today who can address that topic. And a lot of times what I tell people is to contact the tribe, but there's so many different ways of contacting people. So would anyone like to speak to that? Because there's different regulations with it seems like it.
Well, I can say that some people feel like they can go on tribal land or onto one of the nations and just practice without permission because we have our sovereign issues, but that's not true. You really need to talk with the tribe there. You need to talk with the workers there, who's ever there. So it's not like you can just show up, you know, and that's something that we've heard sometimes that people think they can just go do it or it's just open, but it's not. It's really not. So.
Yeah, I know sometimes you have to ask permission from tribal council and then, you know, it's really, like Bob always says, it's really an invitation.
Mm-hmm.
I know with the Cavallini Reservation where I grew up, you always have to ask permission from the council. And yes.
Oh, this is Diane. I'd just like to speak for a few moments.
Yes.
Okay. I just think the old traditional way was we were always invited wherever we went, like you just said. And so we wait for the invitation. But in the way we do things, we first like to go to the elders and just have a little discussion about what we would like to do, and hopefully that it would be something that they would like to do. Ideally, it's always best traditionally for that to come from them. And so we try to always have 5 overseeing elders from the region to guide us through our projects. And it takes time, you know, traditional way takes time. But I'm so grateful that I've had the elders to guide us through this, because then you have their support and you have their overseeing to help us to walk through the project. And what my uncle would always say, when you have 5 overseeing elders, the project will move forward. And so we always go to them to ask them, to tell them, you know, what we would like to do, if this is something that they would like to do. And then after our time with the elders, we tend to open the community more and to, of course, include the children. And so we walk with great caution, but I can see that with the help of our elders, it's really helped us to be able to go many places from where we're not from, and to do well, because if they believe in what you do, like my uncle always used to say, that, you know, things move forward. So, Ata.
Thank you.
This is Dolores, if I could add to the conversation.
Please.
Keep in mind there are over 577 federally recognized tribes, so you'd need almost, you know, a different answer for each of those, how you'd approach them. But the biggest thing is to not go and save the Indians, or people who come into the community who have this affinity, attraction, whatever word you want to use, that romanticism about tribes. You know, they just want to be with tribal people. I used to have issue with that. You know, I used to get cranky about it. And then one time I prayed about it, and what I was told was, keep in mind, we're attracted to that which we miss in ourselves. So everybody has experienced soul wounding because of domestication, you might want to say. And then many of us who have experienced colonization. So I've had to work hard at trying to be kinder about that. I'm being compelled, pushed by spirit, just to share that aspect of it. And I think it's also really important that you remember you are a guest. Even me as a tribal person here with the Quileute, I'm still a guest. You know, I would not do here what I did in Pendleton, where I had trust and rapport and people knew me, so I was able to get things moving along, and I knew community members. So I think a big thing is to remember you're a guest and that nothing about us without us. So if you do think you have something that could be of use to a community, share that with somebody. You know, let them get to know you first before you come in with your ideas of, hey, have you ever thought about this? So thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. All right. And then I wanted to ask if anybody had wanted to talk about any barriers that they experience right now. That was one of Phyllis's questions that she had for people. And then also, if you did have any barriers, how did you overcome those barriers? No barriers, yay. All right.
I do want to say, I know one of the new programs that over at Osage Nation, they have a new director since they initially asked me to come and train them. So that's one of the things that they're looking at, is how to get that new director to buy in to their program. So I think Dolores and different people today have talked about how to get that buy-in. But yeah, it's difficult. And one of the other things is also the changing tribal councils. Things wax and wane with the tribal council, and or, you know, who's your behavioral health director, who's your director of different programs. And so as those people change, it's like a new game in town for some people.
I just wanted to add flexible, flexible, flexible. We just try to go with whatever's going on and the protocols and the people and the administration. So you wiggle and you bend and you move a lot.
Yes. I also like to share that I'm thinking of language as being a barrier in some of the communities along the Southwest. Maybe even financial, you know, how do I pay for this training? Maybe a barrier as well. And for some people, and the lack of materials in Spanish may be a huge barrier. I may need to translate myself some of this information, and because I don't know, I look for it and I haven't been able to find much in Spanish.
Well, I know Laura Cooley wrote a short manual in French, I think it is. Was it Laura? Oh, no, it was Megan, who's from Hawaii.
Megan Yarberry?
Yes, she did one in French. So it's possible to do other languages.
It's a challenge too.
This is Joanne. I have a short one in Spanish, which I can send to whomever wants one.
Oh, I would love one.
Okay.
Maybe I can add to it, or, you know.
Sure, yeah.
If with your permission, of course.
It's not mine, it's yours. I'll send it through Sarah, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Okay, and was that the last thing, Phyllis, that we had on our list to discuss?
I think so. I think so.
All right. Okay, so I would like to thank everybody for showing up today. This was wonderful. It was great to hear from so many communities, different communities from everywhere. And so thank you so much for coming and sharing today. Does anybody else have any last thing that they would like to share? We can open up for some discussion now. of anything else?
I would like to say something.
Yes.
I'm Teresa, acupuncturist in New York, Long Island. And I thank everybody for sharing, because now I would like to know if this is going to be recorded, because and have access to it, because I was working. So I didn't get a chance to hear everybody. But I would like to work with the Shinnecock Nation and maybe the Puspatuk Nation to see if they need something like this. It's been on my heart for a long time to do it. And just listening, it kind of gave me ideas on where I need to go, who I need to talk to. So I appreciate everybody coming on and sharing. And hopefully I can get in there and, because they're very protective of their people and their land, and it's totally understandable. And I just hope that I can go and help. So thank you for sharing the information.
Yeah. All righty. Do we have any announcements to share? Sarah, do we have?
Yeah, I was nervous to unmute because I didn't want to create the bad sound again. But I think I found a way to mute your computer some strange way. I guess the only announcement that of an event coming up is for this coming Friday. This is going to be our 4th History Series event. And it's going to be taking place in the afternoon on Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 2 to 4 Mountain. Hopefully, let us know if you need help with time zones. But I think we shared a link in the chat for anyone who would like to register and join that. Other than that, I'm just really grateful and honored to have been at this cafe. Thanks for leading it, Tanea and Phyllis, and everybody else who shared. And happy to provide any contact information. If there was someone that, this person shared this, how can I reach them? Just send us an email. membership@acudetox.com or nadaoffice@acudetox.com, and we're happy to serve as the connector.
Thank you, Sarah. And I hope all of you have taken some time to connect with each other via the chat or Facebook. And this is on Facebook Live, so please feel free to share it far and wide. But this will be recorded and it will be on the website, and I'll make it public on our YouTube channel so you guys can grab it there too. That's not a membership YouTube channel. And yeah, Phyllis, did you have any? I want to thank Phyllis for co-hosting today. Thank you so much for your work. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I love NADA. I've been in NADA since 1998, and I still love it. I still think it's wonderful. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. All right. Does anybody have anything else? If not, we're going to close out. Thank you so much for joining at the cafe today.
So, Dorida Gohai, which means until we see each other again.
Dorida Gohai.
Dorida Gohai.
Dorida Gohai.
Mama P. Mama P.
Mama P.